Okay, so that did not go as planned. It is not fluffy like I've seen in all the videos. I don't know what I did wrong. It is like a little bit thicker than normal. I mean, it's staying at the top. Let's taste it. It definitely like feels fluffy. Wow, that's really interesting. I think I really need to go get a spoon and stir this. Okay, I stirred it. Let's give her the old taste test now. It's like pretty terrible. Yeah, I actually hate it. I'm not gonna drink any more of that. Okay, I moved the camera a little because I just wanted to. All right, in this video, I am talking about, sorry, I don't know why I just did that. I'm talking about why presidential primaries should all be on the same day, just like every state votes on the same day in the general election. Let's get into it, shall we? You may have heard that Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders has dropped out of the 2020 presidential race, much to the dismay of me and many other progressive people. It's especially jarring for Bernie supporters because for the first few weeks of this election, it really seemed like Bernie was headed for not only a win, but a strong win. He won, well, he basically tied with Pete Buttigieg in terms of delegates in the Iowa caucuses. He won in New Hampshire, then he won in Nevada, then Joe Biden won in South Carolina, but everyone was kind of predicting that anyways. Then, of course, a day or two before Super Tuesday, which was March 17th this year, that's when a bunch of states vote, including states like California and Texas, which are very important in terms of delegate count. Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar dropped out of the race and endorsed Joe Biden. Before Super Tuesday, and with the exception of South Carolina, Joe Biden had been coming in 4th and 5th in the caucuses and primaries, but suddenly, after Super Tuesday, Joe Biden was the decided frontrunner. Soon after Super Tuesday, Elizabeth Warren dropped out of the race, and it really became a race between Senator Sanders and former Vice President Joe Biden. The next big primary voting day was when important states like Florida and Michigan voted. Joe Biden beat Bernie by a landslide, even in states that Bernie won in 2016, like Michigan. Political reporters and pundits say they've never seen a comeback quite like Joe Biden's, and that such a comeback is basically unprecedented in modern American history. In my opinion, the only reason this happened is that all 50 states don't hold their primaries on the same day. DNC officials saw that Bernie was winning by a lot in the early states. Since they clearly favor a more moderate candidate, they had time to analyze the results from the early states, scramble to find a way to move the primaries in their favor, and ultimately prevent Sanders from being the nominee. According to Politico, 2 days before Pete Buttigieg ended his campaign, he had briefed top donors about his plan to keep pushing forward in the race. Why then did he suddenly drop out and endorse Joe Biden conveniently at the same time that Amy Klobuchar did the same thing and former candidate Beto O'Rourke also endorsed Joe Biden? According to some of Buttigieg's chief fundraisers, they were getting calls from top Democratic donors urging Pete Buttigieg to drop out of the race in an effort to unite the party. The DNC top donors also have a huge influence on the mainstream media. The fact that the primaries are held on different days as opposed to one nationwide voting day means that the media has a chance in between primaries to look at the voting results and then shape the narrative in favor of whoever they favor to be the nominee. It's basically the same reason why we consider the Iowa caucuses to be so important in the primary process. Whoever wins in Iowa gets the first news coverage of people calling them the winner, which then gets people all over the country to see them as the winner. They gain more name recognition as well, and because of all of this, the person who wins Iowa, in recent years at least, has gone on to be the nominee. This year, the Iowa caucuses were a mess, so it didn't work out quite that way, but that is another topic. If every state voted on the same day, the DNC and top Democratic donors would not have had the opportunity to come up with an action plan to defeat Sanders and prevent him from being the nominee. They wouldn't have gotten the heads up that they needed to change their strategy in order to sway the outcome in their favor. It would have just been, okay, here are the candidates, everyone vote for who you want to be the presidential nominee. Done. Bam. Whoa, 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 whoa. That would almost be too logical. Instead, now half the states in the country don't even get to vote for who they want to be the nominee. It's already been decided for them because of Biden's commanding delegate lead and the pressure on Sanders to drop out of the race, which he recently did. Yeah, the rest of the states will still have their voting days, and they'll still be able to vote in down-ballot elections, but this is why so many Americans are disillusioned by the voting process, because in this case, their votes really don't count. According to Vox.com, bills proposing a single day for primary elections have been proposed over 100 times since 1911, but obviously those bills haven't gone anywhere. Leaders from both the Democratic and Republican parties believe that if candidates campaigned in all 50 states at once, it would basically become a TV ad war, and the candidate with the most money would end up winning the nomination. They're afraid that if all 50 states vote at once, candidates wouldn't have the incentive to go to early states like Iowa and New Hampshire and actually be on the ground, shaking hands, kissing babies, and doing that whole shebang. But a TV ad war and a race to see who can raise the most money is basically what the primaries have become anyways. Aside from states like Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina, candidates really don't spend that much time in all the other states. It becomes about which campaign has enough money to keep moving forward. I believe we need campaign finance reform as well as many other electoral reforms, but that is a story for another video. By the way, I'll post the Vox explainer video that I've been referencing in the description box below. Because of our current primary system, the votes of the citizens in those states that vote after Super Tuesday, their votes really don't matter. And most Americans end up not going to the polls on primary elections at all. This system is all so infuriating to me. We managed to hold the general election all in one day, so why can't we do the same for primaries? If we truly want to call America a democracy, we need to reform, among many other parts of the electoral process, our primary calendar so that every vote truly counts. Otherwise, voters are going to keep feeling more and more disenfranchised, and we'll keep seeing only small voter turnout for groups of Americans, especially voters like young people and those of lower socioeconomic status. How do you feel about our presidential primary schedule? Do you think all of the states' primaries should be held on the same day, or do you think we should keep our system the way it is? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for listening to this rant, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!